Hey, we're live. We all live now.
No, okay, there we go. What's up, everybody? We're going
How you guys doing?
What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff After Hours. I'm your host. My name is Mark DeMayo. I'm here with my co-host, my partner in all things law enforcement, the very handsome Bill Cannon. What's up, Bill?
Hey, just looking forward to the show. We actually got Kristian just today, a last-minute arrival. So
and a great guest.
I hope he's going to be a great show, right?
Okay, so let's announce our guest. He's a retired NYPD first-grade detective. He started off his career in the Bronx. He worked citywide housing crime team, several detective squads in the Bronx. As he got second grade, then he went into the hostage negotiation team, became first-grade detective. Then he was part of a federal task force. He has an interesting story because right at the end of the career, it's like a movie. Right before, like a week before he was to retire, he was called on as a hostage negotiator. There was 3 women in Queens and a baby, and they were held hostage by 2 gunmen. They thought there was money there in the house. They had business with the husband who died from cancer. They felt like there was money in the house, and then first-grade detective let's showed up at the scene. What's up, buddy?
How you doing, guys? Thank you for having me.
All righty. The ruffling around, you're gonna have to sit still a little bit because when you ruffle around, like when you move, whatever you just did, it's crazy.
Sounds like we have a trash compactor going full speed.
Well, what's up, man? How are you? Where are you?
Very good, thank you. Now happily retired in the great state of Florida.
Oh, congratulations! Wow. Another one. What area? You don't have to tell us exactly what your address is, but
Jacksonville area.
Oh, okay. All right. How's that working out for you?
So far, so good.
And what are you doing with yourself now?
Mr. Dad.
That's it? You're fully retired? You're not doing anything else?
No. Just enjoying the kids, enjoying retired life for right now.
All right. That's good. That's good to hear.
You know, Kristian, it's rare these days that someone does like exactly 20 years and gets out. In fact, you probably got in under the tier where you could do that. I think cops now have to do 22 years before they can retire.
Yes, when I got on, I was a tier two hiree in September of 2000. So I'm one of the lucky few, and nowadays I can get out 20 and out with everything going on.
That's what Mark did. He went 20 and out, and he wrote a show about it. He did a comedy show about 20 years and out off the police department.
Yeah, but I only made it to 4th grade detective.
It happens. It does happen.
I mean, to get 1st grade in 20 years, that's pretty impressive. Do you think that has some? You started off in housing. Do you think that had something to do with housing?
Honestly, it was all luck. I had a great support system with colleagues and bosses, and everything happened at the right time in my career for me. I was very blessed and very humbled.
That's great. Folks in the chat, I just want to let you know, tonight's show is Police Off the Cuff. We're not going to be addressing the Summer Wells case on this show tonight. I appreciate everyone in the chat asking about it, but we're not going to be addressing that case tonight on the show. We're just going to be interviewing Kristen Flood, who had a exemplary NYPD police career.
Yeah, we got a couple of different shows. Bill does the true crimes, and right now he's covering Summer Wells. And we have another show that we do called Police Off the Cuff After Hours, where we look to pick out the best of the best that have anything to do with law enforcement. And a lot of them go on to remarkable careers afterwards. And Detective Flood, there he is right there in all his glory.
You know, after he retired, he doesn't even need glasses anymore, you know?
They're here. Still have them.
HNT, Hostage Negotiation Team. That's a great jacket to wear, man. I would imagine you had a chance. Your boss was something else too.
There he is again, and standing in front of that hostage negotiation van. I think they teach them that stance when they go for training to stand like that, right?
Tell us a little bit about what it was like you worked for Jack Cambria, right?
No, Jack, I didn't have the opportunity. Jack had already, I think, moved on and retired. My first commanding officer was Lieutenant Commander Christopher Zimmerman, who is now off the job and I believe is the captain of the Port Authority Counterterrorism Bureau. And then my next CO was Lieutenant Mike Falk from the 6-7, now back at the 6-7. And that gentleman is Lieutenant Mike Tomeo, the current hostage negotiator commander.
Oh, wow.
You know, want to hear something funny about Chris Zimmerman? I responded to the miracle on the Hudson when Sully Sullenberger landed the plane on the river. And, you know, as the investigation went on, we were very happy to hear that no one had died. And it was Chris Zimmerman, who was a lieutenant at the time in, I think, missing persons. His job was to account for every single person that was on that plane. And the whole time he was doing it, the chief of detectives at the time, it was Brown, he was screaming at him like the whole time. And I was just like, how is this guy going to do his job when this guy is just screaming in his ear the whole time? And to his credit, he did an amazing job. He was able to account, because people were brought to hospitals across the river in New Jersey. Some people just went home. People went back to LaGuardia to jump on another plane. And he had to account, and he accounted for every single person. And while the chief of D's was screaming at him, I was like, that was great. You did a hell of a job.
No, he's a great man. And I was very humbled and happy when he called me for my interview. I was actually on vacation. I actually drove down on vacation to be interviewed by Lieutenant Zimmerman. And I'm very happy that I was picked for HNT Class 25 and very, very humbled to be on the team.
That's great. Here's your little challenge coin, hostage negotiation team. You know, I actually had this picture here that you're looking at. That was the former Lieutenant Jack Cambria. And he actually talked that guy down from jumping off a building. And that wasn't the only thing, but afterwards he kept in contact with the guy. The guy, I think, was a resident of Phoenix House. And he tried to get the guy a job and all kinds of stuff. So Jack Cambria is one hell of a guy, you know, as you've probably heard.
Yes.
Hey, so tell us, bring us back to that case. How far were you out from retirement? I mean, did you have your papers in? Did you know you were getting out?
It was, I believe, about 7 days before I walked right out the door. It happened on, I think, a Tuesday, and I was leaving that Wednesday, the following Wednesday.
So this is like a movie right now. Just when I try to get out, they pull me right back in.
Yeah. I'll quote. I believe it was my father or my brother that said, "I kind of went out like Derek Jeter, like, you know, the last hit, you know, fit the script." That's pretty much how I went out. And it was funny because I didn't even know the job was going on at the time. One of the guys I work with, a good friend of mine, Nick Levesque, heard it and was like, "You didn't get a phone call yet?" I go, "What are you talking about?" And then he pulls up the job and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh boy.
I think your brother's in the chat. You got a brother named Scott?
I do, yes.
And is he on the job too?
No, he's not. Just me.
Oh, okay. You know, let me ask you something. So you get to this hostage job. They're threatening to kill people. They're armed. The guy makes a couple of requests, right? One of the things he wanted a pizza, right? So, right. So you basically stalled in getting him the pizza, which is a great thing because in hostage negotiation, you don't want the hostage taker to control the time. You want to control the time, and you want to control the pace of it, and you want to slow it down, right?
Yes. Yes.
So tell us how you did that. Do I have to pull these questions out of you? Tell us how you did that.
It's well, we don't want to let too much out, but because I believe it's still in litigation. I know when I first got there, there was a lieutenant, I believe, Mike Latricia. He's now retired. He was actually speaking to one of the hostage takers. And as I got there, we transitioned him getting off the phone with me getting on the phone. That was a little bit of a process. And then I had to develop my own rapport. And before he even wanted the pizza, he actually wanted to speak to his wife. His name was Mr. Ortiz. He wanted to speak to his wife, and he wasn't coming out. And that got a little tricky because I didn't know to what capacity he wanted to speak to his wife. So myself, Lieutenant Tomeo, we kind of came up with a plan like, well, we're going to work on getting your wife here, but you got to do something for us. And it was right at the time of the transition from Lieutenant Latricia to myself. He was willing to release two of the women, the two women, the 90 and the 60, the 90-year-old and the 60-year-old. But we still had a 33-year-old female in there. And that's when the whole I'm getting hungry, I want something to drink came into play, because at this time, all he really wanted was to speak to his wife, and we had to vet as to what capacity. Like, is it to say goodbye and do it live? Is it, this is why I'm doing this because of you? Like, there was a lot of scenarios before we actually brought her into the picture.
Yeah, because you can't obviously let the hostage takers run the show. You got to take control of it. But
Yes,
you want to keep them talking, right? That's look. I did 3 shows with Jack Cambria, so I feel like I almost went through the hostage negotiation training. And I had a funny story about a pizza one time. We had a double murderer up in Connecticut. He had fled there from the 2-3 precinct in Spanish Harlem, and 2 of my detectives, Charlie Freitag and Detective Pat Porteous, they spent 6 hours in the room interrogating this guy, and he wouldn't give it up. And finally, I put a female detective in with him, Giselle Molino, and she comes out an hour later and she goes, he's ready to give it the whole thing up, but he wants a large pepperoni pizza and 2 packs of Newports. So I became a little pizza errand boy, and I went out and got the pizza, and he confessed to the whole thing. So that's my pizza story.
Pizza has a way with people. Everybody loves pizza, But yeah, we were able to, when he wanted something to eat, at first we couldn't find the pizzeria open because it was also during COVID. So we had to try and find someone, and I'm not from Queens. So we had the 106 guys and the Queens, I think it's Queens South. I don't know Queens that well. Robbery squad. Somebody came up with a pizza. That's all I know at some point. And he wanted a whole pack of cigarettes. I think we gave him like 2 or 3 because we didn't want this to be prolonged. And we knew he was going to be ready to come out, him and his partner. And they ultimately came out.
Was this a drug deal that the money was owed?
That I don't know. There was rumor, though I can't personally confirm this because I'm not part of that part of the investigation. The owner of the house, the husband, had died of cancer, and there was some type of, I don't know if it was an insurance settlement, if it was a prior crime, and this was the net proceeds, but there was supposedly to what I was told, a large sum of money potentially in there. I don't know. I can't confirm that.
We had a case one time where we thought we had the guy who shot Captain Gervin in the 3-2 precinct, and the guy was in the guy was in a social club. We tracked his plate, and he was a real bad guy, and we tracked him all the way to Staten Island, and he holed up in an apartment, and Taru was involved because they were listening on his phone line, and the hostage was there. And I remember as soon as hostage got there was a detective talking to the perp, and they just knocked him right off the line and went in with a different line. And he was there like, what, and the guy took his gun apart and tried to dump it down the sink. And then the ESU came in and took the trap apart and found the gun. And he really wasn't the shooter, but he was such a bad guy. We trigger locked him, and he did something to life. He got like 6 to life for just having a gun. But I think his name was Tata. And he got that name because he was a shooter. He was a shooter from Queens. And then, Tata, that's how he got that name.
Yeah.
Tata. But ultimately, they did catch the guy who shot Captain Gervin. So it was a good case.
How old was this guy, these perps?
One, Tex Ortiz, I believe, was in like his 30s, mid 30s, if to my best recollection. And I think it was Mike Williams. I forget the other guy's name. It's escaping me right now. He was older, like 40s, 50s. He actually got on the phone with me a couple times, very hot headed, couldn't reason with him.
And how did the word get out? Did one of these women call 911? I mean, they got into the house. How did the word get out?
So later on, from what I found out, the female that lived there, she had the infant child. She actually ran out when he came in. And she went to a neighbor. She went somewhere and called 911. That's when the 106 responded.
So the neighbor found them.
I believe so. Yes.
I got a word to check my microphone, so I'm going to try this. Let's see.
So let me ask you something. Before we sort of jumped ahead of time. Before you got to hostage, you worked in that. You came on a job. You worked for housing, right?
Correct.
And so, am I on tape delay? Like it seems like I'm asking a question, and
yeah,
it's reaching you like seconds after I talk. Is this going down? Is this going down 95 South and reaching you like
he's got a drag? He's got a drag. Yeah. It's like we're on TV.
So you worked.
It is. It's a very long drive down here.
You worked in PSA 7 in the South Bronx. Tell us about what it was like working there.
Yeah, got there in March of 01. I actually did my field training there. Loved it so much I wanted to go back. Was lucky enough to go back there, and that's where I learned patrol, working in the housing projects in the 40, 42, 44, and 46 precincts. And then did that for a little while.
This was 2000? So 2000
yes.
to 2004 you worked there? So it was still pretty busy.
Oh, it was very busy.
Rocking. Was it rocking?
Yes. Claremont Day was no joke. I mean, it slowed down because September 11th happened. I was 6 months on the street. September 11th happened. So housing and the detective bureau merged, if you guys remember. And then I did time at the Fresh Kills landfill in Staten Island for a couple of months. On and off with the details.
Yeah, we're doing a couple of shows next week on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. One of them Monday is of a retired inspector who wrote a book on 9/11, and we're going to talk about all the sacrifices that people made. And then Tuesday, I have the 3 guys that I responded with are going to do a show with me on 9/11. So nice. The 20th anniversary is here, and it's not that we're celebrating; we're sort of commemorating it and remembering what it was like and how people are now 20 years from that date.
Hey, Duty Wrong brings up. He asks if do you know Darren Porcher, Dr. Darren Porcher. Did you work with him?
Yes, loosely affiliated. Dr. Porcher, he was a sergeant when I was in the academy. He was a law instructor. And then I think I bumped into him once at a detail when I was on the street. Loosely know him, very loosely.
Okay. Duty Wrong brought that up.
Yeah, he's been on the show a bunch of times. He's a very successful talking head. That's what they call him, He goes on all the news shows, and he's a good talker. He's a smart guy,
Yeah, he
nice
definitely.
Guy.
We're back. All right, we're back to comments right now.
Diane B, yeah, 20 years. It feels like yesterday. Not to me. I think it feels like it was a long time ago. I still remember it vividly, but it seems like 20 years ago to me. And I don't know if it feels like that to you. It doesn't to me.
Well, I got 10 years. I'm approaching 10 years, and it seems like I agree with you. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just show you guys a quick picture, and I got promoted in December of 2001, so that's Billy Cannon, 20 years younger. You see, I have brown hair and everything, and my kids now, who are 26 and 29. That was 20 years ago. So they were 6 and 9 years old. That's funny, right? But
That's
time,
great.
There's a
time
lifetime ago.
flies. Yeah, well, yeah, it seems like a real long time ago, and it's like when you talk to people that responded there, there's a lot of suffering that still goes on
Yes.
to this day, and it's I will always listen to someone that responded that wants to talk to me, or needs a shoulder to lean on, or wants to talk about it. I'm fine with it. I mean, luckily I have a couple of physical ailments from it, but I don't have any mental ailments from it. I have other mental ailments, like I like to drink Brooklyn Lager every night.
Well, Kristian, you were down there in. You said you spent a couple of months in Fresh Kills. How are you feeling?
I'm
okay?
I mean, knock on wood, I'm okay. No ailments, nothing like that. I know guys that I was down there with, I mean, did develop some ailments. So far, I'm one of the lucky few, nothing yet. And like to keep it that way.
Well, you're in Florida right now, and you had all this experience with the hostage negotiation, first grade detective. Well, I mean, I know that you just retired, but are there any plans or anything you're looking into? Because it's a lot of experience that just lay dormant there.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't thought about joining, any law enforcement agency down here yet, though I have been approached by multiple departments. I don't know. I may want to get into like public speaking, teaching. Again, thank you guys for having me. This is pretty cool. Sharing what I've learned over 20 years, so the next generation of negotiator or law enforcement professional can maybe take something away from my career.
Kristian, don't become a podcaster. You may look at us and think we're like wealthy guys and we got it all going on, but it's no life. I'm just kidding. We're having a lot of fun.
Hey, listen, anytime I can sit down with other guys and, talk about the old days, it's fine by me.
What's it like when you're on the phone with negotiating? There's hostages, and now you got the perp on the phone. You got the guy, the two guys that were like. How does the conversation start?
At a very high level. To be honest with you, very elevated. A lot of expletives came out. It was.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What are you angry at them or?
No, they're angry. Like it's funny. Like they're not smart, and they got into a way, and their emotions are high. And my job is to bring them from up here down to here so we can actually have an intelligent conversation. But when you're throwing F-bombs at me, if you come in here, we're going to shoot it out with you. You better not effing come through the door, stuff like that. And that my job is like, I have to take all that in and keeping a very even keel. Listen, we're not here for that, and try and get to them on a more personal level.
So they're saying if you guys take one step closer, we're going to kill these people, and you're saying, calm down, right?
I'm basically trying to get their mind off that. I will tell you, multiple times I was told that if ESU came through that door, they were going to shoot it out with us. They did not care. And trying to get them into trying to deflect that mindset, trying to get their mindset off of that. That was my biggest struggle. And then with Mr. Ortiz, the primary subject that I was talking to, I mean, this went on for about 5.5 hours of me on the phone with him. I just didn't show up, pizza, and then out the door. This was about a 5.5 to 7.5 hour job. I was on the phone with him for at least 5-6 hours, and it was ups and downs, highs and lows. And then at some point, he understood that we were going to meet halfway, and ultimately he did want to come out. Him and his partner did want to come out, but they didn't want to, get hurt in the process, so to speak.
How do you talk for 5.5 hours? What is you using a landline? Because at some point I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I got to get back to you. I got to charge my phone.
Believe it or not, thank God that day my cell phone was charged. One of Pulaski's things, we had job phones. So when we got out there, I think they tried throwing a throw phone in there. They weren't having it, and they had multiple phones in the residence. They would call 911, and then 911 would direct it to somebody in ESU, and then it would come to me. It was weird. And then at some point I was able to get a contact number, and on my NYPD job phone, I would go back and forth. And you spoke earlier about Taru, top-notch guys. They had every cell phone charger you can. They have some nice toys. So my phone was plugged in and I was good to go. I was all right. But sometimes I would have to go to the door and actually speak behind 2 stacks of ESU guys on the phone. And, and it was about 10 degrees out that night. So I'm like, all right, buddy, give me a minute, call you right back. We would go back to the truck, tack up, charge my phone again, and then, continue on with the process.
Is that something you don't think about? Because, in the old days, you had a hostage negotiator. The guys were in the van. They had a line. They were calling somebody's hard line in the house. There was a cord. But now you got cell phones. It's like, dude, I got 10 minutes left. You better be good. Tell me what you want.
The times have evolved, yes, and social media and all that other good stuff. So the good thing was they had a charger, at least, because I asked them. Because periodically I would ask that question because I didn't want to be in conversation and then the phone just dies. Okay, now we have a problem. But I was assured they had some type of charging mechanism or device, so they were fine. I was fine, and they were not letting my phone die, so we just had to make sure theirs was good, and it was.
Kristian, someone in the chat asked, have you always been successful in a negotiation? And that goes I'm not just talking about you. How about the entire NYPD hostage negotiation? Have they ever lost someone during a negotiation?
Prior to my time, I know of one incident with Dave Nielsen. I believe he took his own life. It was in Staten Island. Or he shot it out with ESU. I don't remember the particulars because this was prior to me being on the team. Personally, any negotiation that I had or a part of, it resulted in a successful outcome, meaning that there was no loss of life, no police got hurt, and the hostage taker came out.
What's interesting is that you didn't get that call, and it was probably because they probably took you off the list because you were retiring. So your partner shows you because
I was still on the list.
You were still on the list, but how is it that you were the first one there?
That's a great question. So when the job started, so the chief of detectives has a list of all the negotiators and their schedule. We do a timesheet for them, so to speak, in layman's terms. And I was working that night, and I don't remember if there was a scheduling conflict or something that happened in Queens, but in this particular part of the 106, there was no negotiators working. So they had 2 guys coming in from Brooklyn, and I apologize, I forget the gentleman's name, but I believe they were from Brooklyn North Homicide. And I had when I saw everything and the serious nature of it, I was working. I was like, you know what? I called the chief of detectives, and the detective on the wheel told me what was going on. Actually, we worked together in the 4-7 squad. He goes, are you working? I said, yes, I am. He goes, do you want to go over there? I'm like, do you need me to? And he goes, yes. So I'm like, all right, no problem. And as I'm on the phone with the chief of detectives, my partner, Nick and James, they're already getting the car ready. They're already getting like the windbreaker. They're like notepads, and we'll meet you downstairs. So I'm getting basic pedigree. And then we go, we're just going. And Nick is a great wheelman and got me there safely, but very fast. And when I got there at the staging area, an ESU guy saw the vest, says, "You're hostage?" I said, "Yep." And we start talking. I find out, I guess he's a deputy inspector. And it was all right, Tag, you're it. And that's how I became the primary on this.
Wow. Folks, this is Police Off the Cuff After Hours. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, please subscribe, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up. We also have a Patreon, and we would love for you to join our Patreon. I'll put a little flyer up there. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, leave a comment, follow us on Facebook, visit our website, policeoffthecuff.com. We will be having some merchandise coming out very soon. We got a lot of great things happening. I think tonight, if the Lord is with us, we should hit 13,000 subscribers. We were only about 55 shy of 13,000 before we went on the air. So if you're new to this show, or please subscribe. We got to hit 13,000 tonight. We want to bust past 13,000. So Mark, I think it's time for us to go on a quick break, and I'm going to put the first flyer up there.
Hey, everybody who lives up in the East Coast, if you're fed up with what's going on here and you're thinking about it, taking a move down south, our guest tonight lives in Florida. If you don't want to go that far, if you're thinking about maybe South Carolina, why not consider Myrtle Beach? Myrtle Beach is beautiful. And our sponsor tonight, BRG, Carol Waters, realtor. She is a New Yorker. She's from Ireland originally, but she lived in the Bronx for many years. And she got married to a policeman that became a fireman. And then they both, after they retired, they moved down to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. And now she's handling all the business down there, and she's doing a phenomenal job. So check out Carol Waters Realtor. It's Carol Waters Sells MB@gmail.com. It's part of the beachrealtygroup.com dash Carol Waters. And her phone number is there, 914-261. She still kept that 914 number, 914-261-6681. And she'll help you find some property in Myrtle Beach that'll make you happy. And God forbid you get in trouble, folks. You're going to want to have this name in your pocket. You want to have this card, jmurray-law.com. That's Joe Murray. He's a frequent guest on the show. He's a retired NYPD police officer who became an attorney while he was on the job. It's a remarkable story, and he's turned out to be a phenomenal lawyer. He's a gentleman, and if I got into trouble, this is the guy I want on my side. He cares for all of his clients, and he'll give you 110%. There's his stuff right there. Joe Murray, jmurray-law.com. And I would hold on to that number if you're fooling around and you're doing something you shouldn't be.
Michael O'Keefe is a retired first-grade detective and the author of 3 novels, Shot to Pieces, A Reckoning in Brooklyn, and Burnt to a Crisp. You can order his books on Amazon.com or his website, michaelo'keefeauthor.com. Michael O'Keefe, in 1992, was the officer who got involved in a violent confrontation with a perp named Kiko Garcia, and Mike came out on top. He's alive. Kiko Garcia died in this encounter. And some of these novels are autobiographical. For example, Shot to Pieces, A Reckoning in Brooklyn, and Burnt to a Crisp. And Mike was the officer that shooting caused the Washington Heights riots because of a lot of misinformation. He's a great author. Order his books on Amazon.com or his website, michaelo'keefeauthor.com. Folks, Police Coffee is an officer-owned business dedicated to crafting the finest coffees and blends. And the amazing thing is that they provide you with the freshest coffee available. Each batch is roasted fresh by people who know what it means to stay vigilant. And our specialty coffee does not waste one drop when flavor is concerned. Our coffee is some of the best you'll find, but it also helps serve an important cause, giving back to our community. 50% of the profits goes towards helping family members of police officers who fell in the line of duty. To order coffee and related products from policecoffee.com, go to the website. There are over 7 types of coffee to choose from. 50% of the profits go to officers' families in need. For a 10% discount, use code OTC10. That's off the cuff 10. And the website is policecoffee.com. Order some of this coffee right now, and you'll be helping out police families.
I'm putting an order in, by the way.
I'm going to try that coffee too, I think.
Yeah. Hey,
we're drinking Dunkin' Donuts right now. I don't know. Anyone who listens to Police Off the Cuff, do not go into Starbucks. That's just
I have Cafe Bustelo in my I buy the pods. But let me ask you something, Kristian. Was your retirement based on what was the current, what's going on right now, the sentiment with law enforcement? Was that part of it, or you just wanted to take your family and get out of New York after the 20, get your money and run?
No, actually, I had, in my opinion, at least another 5 to 7 years to go. And a lot of people tried to talk me out of retirement. But yes, a lot of it had to do with the sentiment of what's going on up in New York. The whole anti-police, the fund the police movement, it's causing a mass exodus, not just in the NYPD, but you see it all throughout the country. And it's sad because you're losing a lot of experience. And, you know, in my opinion, it's a false narrative of what's being spun. And it's only going to hurt the citizenry in the long run.
For sure. Steve Colon, thank you so much for your $9.99 super chat. You've been a big supporter of Police Off the Cuff, and we seriously do applaud you and thank you so much for the support.
Well, the interesting thing about the NYPD is, for example, you could be a first grade detective on the hostage negotiation team, and then all of a sudden you're standing there in full uniform. You haven't been like on the street during a riot because they just need bodies, right? Am I lying?
You are 100% truthful, my friend.
It's incredible to take somebody who's worked, like, you know, so hard, but that's what it is. It's all hands on deck, I guess, in a way.
Yes.
A lot of times they'll put you in the beginning of what they think a riot is, you know, so it gets past you, whatever. They situate you in positions where you might not get involved and it might not be a long night for you. But the reality is you're still out there.
Yep. And
you know, it was funny.
Like you said, it's all hands on deck.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a 30-year veteran. You could be 62 years old, and you still will you'll still get sent to a riot, right? They'll say hats and bats.
Yeah.
Go.
Everybody goes when the whistle blows, as they say, right?
You got to go. When you got to go, you got to go.
It's like you know, like Mark said, it's legitimately all hands on deck, and a lot of to further answer your question was I was working some nights from like 3, 4 in the afternoon, and I wasn't coming home till 6, 7 in the morning. And then you watch from the night before, maybe not where I was or where I was working, but you see the department cars on fire, and I have 3 kids. And, you know, my daughter's 10. And at this point, I was like, you know what? It's time to go. For them, it's time to go. And I walked away.
I mean, there's two trains of thoughts. Like, one of them is, you know, forget this. I don't have to deal with this anymore. I got my time in. I'm going to take my money. That's it. And the other train of thought is, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to let them dictate when I leave. I'm going to leave when I want to leave. You know, so there's 2 trains of thoughts there, and you know, it depends on who you are, you know, your personality. But I admire your decision. You know, it didn't look like there was a horizon coming. It looks like it's going to be a long, drawn out, several years. I mean, we just lost the governor here, and who knows what's going to happen now. Everybody's excited about that, but you know, the lady that's stepping up, the woman that's stepping up, and she's going to be, you know, she was the I guess the second in command for New York. She's very, very, you know, liberal. So doesn't mean it's going to get any better.
You know, an amazing thing, my last year in homicide, I was writing a book, and I took a $5 million advance, and I had my detectives write the book for me at work, and I walked away. I was fine after that.
What did somebody do that? Where'd you get that from?
Yeah, Cuomo did that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He got a $5 million advance, and his staff wrote the book for him, and no one questioned it. You know.
Okay.
And then meanwhile, a cop takes a cup of coffee. They're looking to bring him in front of a grand jury. You know.
How good is
Yeah.
How good does that state trooper look for his daughter now, though?
Oh
He
my
was
God.
poo-hooing that guy. Get away from me. Get away from my family. You're not good enough for us. And you know what? Now all of a sudden that guy's looking pretty good.
From Canada.
E. Stevens, thank you so much. Have a lager on me. It's well earned. Thank you so much, E. Stevens. We really appreciate the $10 super chat. We appreciate all you guys. You know, every once in a while, like with this, it does become a duty run. Does this a lot? I've been doing like 3 to 4 shows, sometimes 5 shows a week, and it does get a little stressful after a while because one of the things is you have to prepare all the time, and the other thing is you can't really go far away because you got to be home to do the show at night. So look, I'm not complaining, but it just maybe I am complaining. I don't know, but it is a little bit stressful when you do a lot of shows. You know.
Well, yeah. Well, listen. You know, the thing is, it's amazing what came out of the pandemic and how this particular, our show has evolved. We went from doing 1 2-hour show a week. We'd break it up into different segments. We were in the studio. We would drive all the way into the city to do it, to figuring out how to do it on our own because we didn't have anybody. If we wanted to keep doing it, Bill and I had to keep doing it. It was up to us. We figured out Zoom, which was kind of easy. We're on StreamYard right now. He's dropping pictures, overlays. He has videos. And then not only that, but the show is broken up into not just one guest for 2 hours, but 2 different guests a week for 1 hour. So then you got to book that too. It's like Bill's saying, it
becomes a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's
worth
worth
it. And then we get these hangers on, like these attorneys. They call us every day. Could I be on your show tonight?
Yeah, but I'll tell you.
I'm just kidding. We love to have Joe Murray on the show. We love it.
But the truth is, it's worth it. It really is worth it because you get to hear, for example, the story that you told tonight. You know what I'm saying? This is during the pandemic. We're not talking about, 10 years ago. This is right now in the middle of a pandemic. 2 guys with guns go into a house in Queens, take 3 ladies. Was there a baby there?
There was. The owner of the house was able to get out with the baby. So there was a lot of information there was an infant in there. So when I was responding, I believe there was 5 hostages in total, but when I got there was only 3.
Well, what happened was it's a 2-family house, and the people that were on the bottom found out there was something. The owner of the house found out, they heard the noise upstairs and called the cops, and they left with the baby. That's why you had 3.
I believe that may have happened. I don't know that for sure, but I can tell you that when we got there, excuse me, it was only the 3 women, and of course 90, 60, and 33. And that adds a lot because you have a 90-year-old woman. Think of the optics if this went south. You could go from 0 to hero in a matter of seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Holly W., thank you so much. She wrote for a cup of coffee without the grand jury. That's the best. You're right. And nice. English Rose, we love people come from England giving us. Is that pounds? I'm sure it's not the police off the cuffs first rodeo. Love from the UK. God bless you guys. Thank you so much, English Rose. And you know something, nice. We're not putting these accents on. This is really how we talk. You know, how many acting jobs I didn't get because of this accent, but I can't get rid of it. Either can Mark.
I went to a speech therapist and she gave me my money back after like 3 weeks. She said, yeah, she said, I can't help you. You don't practice enough. I said, I do practice, but I practice when I'm home alone. I can't practice at work because I'm a cop. What am I going to be like? Thou art under arrest. Come hither.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Ron Shindel, Inspector Ron Shindel, how are you, buddy? Good to hear from you. Great to see you. Hope you're having a great summer. He was an NYPD inspector, and now he's on a Port Authority inspector. And I don't know if he's going to do another 20 years, but he'll be living large one day down in Florida, you know?
It's a great state, guys. I love it down here.
I'd love to move to Florida.
You got a great governor there.
Michelle Marty's, hey, there's nothing like a good New York accent, Bill. You sound like a detective. Philly girl here. Nice to meet you, Michelle Marty's. It's great to talk to you. I just wanted to put this up in her honor. This is the Chicago officer
Yes.
that lost her life on Saturday night. Her name is Ella French. I don't know if you followed this, but the two savages that shot her are brothers, and the mother got arrested today demanding to see them. And she's probably a savage too, because that old expression, doesn't fall too far from the tree, And so she gets arrested, demanding to see her two cop murderer sons. Horrible.
Very tragic state of affairs. Very tragic.
Yeah. I don't hesitate to use the word savage because that's what they are,
No
Savages.
word on the other officer.
The other officer got hit. He's in critical condition. He got hit 3 times.
He's in very critical condition.
Yeah.
And
It's been a couple.
No, again.
No, it's been a couple of days. I mean, it's 4 or 5 days now that he's been in the hospital. I hope he's getting better. I hope he's strengthening up, coming back, fighting back.
Yeah, he got hit in. He got hit in the back. I know one of them. That could be. That could hit major organs. And it's like. Yeah, I don't know.
There was a female in the car too.
That wasn't hit.
No, she was in the car. She was one of the perps. It was two.
Oh yeah.
That's
Right. Yeah. You're right. There was 3 of them. Two of them were brothers, and the mother said, "Oh, they were scared." Like
That's an excuse now.
I hope they're scared on cell block D when Jailhouse Jack comes up behind them.
That's an excuse now. That's an excuse to carry a gun, I guess, right?
They're
Because I'm
scared,
scared of the police.
This is Chicago. You need a gun.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Very sad state of affairs, boys. Very sad state of affairs there.
Joe Murray, the attorney. Thank you, Joe, so much for the $4.99 super chat. And you're not done with us. We're going to pull you on the show as often as possible. Because we don't have to pay you $650 an hour to get you on our show. It's amazing. So, the whole world of policing, we discussed that many times on different types of shows. And I don't blame you for doing a 20 and out, moving down to Florida. Do you know Carlos Fognoli? He's a retired NYPD.
No.
He's on the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. He's the detective in Fort Lauderdale. He's also like a 2nd or 3rd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu, which I think every New York City police officer now should have to learn. The days of getting into a boxing stance are over. Now you have to immobilize these people because of video and cell phones.
I think you'll find your way down there. I think you'll find your way down there.
One day at a time, boys. I'm enjoying.
Well, you just got out. You just got out. You'll see. After what has it been, like 6-7 months?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Pranzo, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Peter Pranzo, the legendary lieutenant from Harlem Raiders fame and a street crime hero from the 80s. And he's always a big fan of the show. Him and his wife, Richella Pranzo. Pete, so great to see you. And I hope you're having a great summer. I saw that you saw Darius Rucker in concert. I love that, seeing you and Richella dressed in your rock and roll outfits going to see Darius Rucker.
This guy had to cancel a concert today because they wouldn't cater his clause, which was the vaccine. He wanted everybody to be vaccinated or proof of a test. I think it was in Texas. And they shot it down. They said, no, you got to open it up to everybody. So he lost his show. Big country singer.
That's it.
Holly W., you asked which cop show is most accurate. I don't know if you've ever seen this show before. My favorite cop show of all time is something called The Wire. It was out of Baltimore. It was on HBO. It was a great, great show.
That was good. But you know what? I mean, if you want to go further back, the most accurate show dealing with a detective squad is Barney Miller.
Barney Miller.
Everyone says that.
Barney Miller.
Barney Miller is exactly what it's like to be in a squad. All the different personalities, the type of people that you arrest. It's a squad. Yeah.
MC's audio says Homicide: Life on the Street. That was also a great show. Well,
NYPD Blue too.
Yeah, they got a little bit too ridiculous, though.
Yeah, at the end.
Remember the show Hill Street Blues?
Yeah, that was great. That was great. That was Patrol right there. Yeah. Really, anti-crime.
Yeah.
In my one-man show, that's the way we used to start all the scenes with the song from Hawaii Five-0, from Barney Miller, from Chips.
Oh wow.
We had
Oh,
great
wow.
shows. Chips.
Hey, Ponch, how you doing?
Someone is saying the most original or realistic cop show is Cops. Well, yeah, it's the real thing happening in front of your eyes, you know, and
Well,
they're following.
Somebody a factual breakdown. I loved Live PD. Did it come back? It still hasn't come back.
It
yet,
was supposed to come back. I don't know
Not
if
yet.
it's back on. Not yet. You know.
I don't
They're
think
not
so.
ready.
No.
They're holding on.
You know what it is? People get triggered when they see the blue line. They're triggered and they just get so upset, you know?
Morons. They should have had that show going the whole time, during all the riots. And they chickened out. They left. They would have had unbelievable. The people would have been watching Live PD every single night. And you could have moved all those people to every state that they were doing the riots. And they wouldn't let them do it. And they lost millions and millions and billions of dollars. That would have been the biggest hit of all time.
Joe Murray said,
Yeah.
bad boy, what you gonna do when they come for you, bad boy, bad boy. I thought Joe Murray was gonna sing it, but, you know, he's not a guest on our show today. You know? That's great.
So what does tomorrow look like when you get up and you're retired?
Sunny,
Florida.
91, and it will probably be at the pool at some tomorrow. Tomorrow's a pool day.
You have your own pool, or you're a part of like a little community and they have a pool there?
Community, and I have actually two pool sites that we can go to. But the one that's like literally 3 minutes from my house has a water slide. The kids have fun. I'm in the shade in the cabana with the missus and just enjoying the summer heat.
You know, it's funny. My mother, she says to me, she lives in Fort Lauderdale, and they had a house, and now my stepsister, she moved on. So she says, "Oh, we found a really nice place in this 55 and over community." She said, "We got a 2-bedroom apartment. It's huge. It's we got a pool. It's beautiful." And I said, maybe I'll come down there and check it out. See, maybe it's good for me. And she says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Ma, I'm going to be 55 next year. I could go there."
You could go to one of those 55 and over communities.
Yeah, it blew her
That's
mind.
great.
My mother she was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize that."
Now, is Jacksonville further north? Is that in the northern part of Florida?
Yes, Northeast Florida. I'm about a 2-hour drive from Savannah, Georgia. I'm about 2 hours from Orlando.
Before you know it, you're going to lose your New York accent. And you're going to be saying, y'all. Y'all.
Nope. I get compliments everywhere I go. It's still thick. It'll be around for a while.
Someone said, Mark, AARP time.
You don't realize it, but it's actually available. I could go there next year and get a beautiful apartment for $1,200 a month because I'm 55. I think there's a maintenance involved too, but it's still it happens.
It's great weather. Golf all day, all year round.
I used to poo-hoo the AARP when I used to get it in my mailbox. I'm like, this is crazy. I throw it out. And one day I bothered opening it, and I saw that they had a coupon. You get readers. You get like 10 pair of readers for like $6. And I was like, I need this. This is great. So next thing you know, I'm in CVS with my AARP. I'm giving it to them.
Mark, you know what was a big thing was, you remember when you first realized you needed reading glasses?
44.
It was crazy. I thought I was like drunk or something. I kept rubbing my eyes like I couldn't see, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't see my locker combination. I couldn't see
and I
my
was
locker.
like, and then I was taking things and holding them like 10 feet away so I could read it. I was like, I didn't want to accept it that I needed glasses, you know?
Well, anybody from England will tell you they call them 44s over there because you get them at 44. That's apparently when your eyesight starts going and you start needing readers. If you had 20/20 vision, I had 20/20 vision prior to the readers. My distance is still good right now. It's just the I use them so much too every day.
Oh yeah, I can't see it. I couldn't read at all. Forget about it.
No,
Forget about it. That's another thing you got to bring down to Florida. Forget about it, right? That's a Brooklyn word. They love that. Forget about it.
There's a pizzeria right by my house that has a big sign. They're actually from Brooklyn, and they came down here. They relocated down here about maybe 10 years ago. Great. Serafino's Pizza in Jacksonville. Phenomenal. Closest to New York pizza that I found down here. And he's got a big sign that says, forget about it. Over 278. So I was like, back it up. This is great.
English Rose says she's never heard that word, forget about it. Come on. You don't watch The Sopranos? Forget about it, right?
Forget about it. You never heard forget about it? Forget about it. Well, it's the water when it comes to the pizza and the bagels. It's all the water. You need that hard water, that hard New York City mineral water.
Hey, Peter Pranzo even brought up an older one. Remember you talking to me? You talking to me? Remember that in the Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
That was a great one. That was a long, long time ago. That was like one of De Niro's first leading roles, Taxi Driver. If for $5, who knows the name? His character's name.
Oh my God.
In the chat, who knows his character's name? Okay. Travis Bickle.
I knew it was Bickle, but I forgot the first name.
I was like, it's like right here. I was like, I couldn't think of it.
It's crazy. We're in like the last 4 minutes. We were almost upon an hour, guys. I thought it was a we just actually booked Kristian a few hours ago with our new employee, Mike Colon, who's helping us book guests and
MC Audio.
MC's Audio. MC's Audio is a great broadcaster. He's a great podcaster. He's a young guy, but he's going to be a superstar in this industry.
Prodigy.
Yeah, and I said we gotta get this guy to help us out with this. So he's an employee now of Police Off the Cuff.
We're building a team.
Yeah, we're building the team. That's for sure. This Monday, as I said, I'm doing a show on 9/11 with the author of a book, A Retired Inspector. And then Tuesday, I'm actually doing a show also on 9/11 with the three guys that responded to the ground zero with me that day.
Well, Monday we're doing it together, right?
Yeah. With I have his book. And Wednesday, actually, we have a surprise guest. Joe Pistone is coming back with Tommy Dades, and Phil Grimaldi's going to interview him with me. Everything you wanted to know about the mob but were afraid to ask. Tommy Dades is an expert, and Joe Pistone, the real Donnie Brasco, is going to be on the show for the third time. And it's going to be an amazing show. A lot of you folks from other countries, Joe Pistone is the real deal. He went undercover and put away about 100 mafia members. For 6 years, he was undercover. Yeah. Actually, if they let him stay another month, they were going to make him. He was going to be a made guy. They were going to straighten him out, as they say in mob lingo.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Great movie. And he was a great guest.
Forget about it. That Joe Pistone's coming on Wednesday.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Forget about it.
Well, it could mean anything.
Yeah, it could mean anything. Like forget about it.
He's got a nice car. You say, "Oh, forget about it." How's that guy?
Someone said Donnie Brasco. Forget about it. You can use it. It's a multi-use word. You can use it for anything, right?
Yeah.
Well, what do we got left? You're promoting anything, Bill? You got anything coming up?
Just folks, if you would again, if you like this show, subscribe to us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, ring the bell. If you want to join our Patreon, you can join our Patreon by we have 3 tiers. There's the address for it. $7 a month. You're the bucket. For $9 a month, you can polish my rack. And for $11 a month, you get to dip them in butter. That's right. And that's that's the most popular tier, being dipped in butter. So we'd appreciate all the help we could get. And we're having a ball doing this, but believe it or not, it is a lot of work. And we really appreciate our fans. I'm seeing more and more people from overseas, and it's amazing. Australia, England, Ireland, South Africa. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. Anything you want to talk about, Mark?
No, but Go says now when somebody says forget about it, I do. That's the best thing you can do.
That's great.
Forget about it. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I just
that's
forgot.
Actually a great line.
Yeah. Anyway, no, my album drops September 14th, The Bangers, and I'll be promoting it up until then. They're doing final touches on the artwork, and that's pretty much it.
You know, Kristian, we just want to thank you with no notice at all. You came on the show tonight. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
Retired first grade detective Kristian Flood, now living the life down in Jacksonville, Florida. We're all envious of you, but we thank you so much for coming on the show. And for everyone that was listening tonight, all the folks in the chat, we thank you so much for your support for Police Off the Cuff. On behalf of Bill Cannon and Mark DeMeo and Kristian Flood, who is our guest tonight, thank you so much and good night, everyone.
Have a good night, guys.